Hello dear students, today my topic is meaning of the term ethics according to the dictionary. The term ethics has several meanings. One of its meanings is the principles of conduct governing an individual or a group. A sense we sometimes use the term personal ethics. For example, when referring to the rules by which an individual lives his or her personal life. We use the term accounting ethics when referring to the code that guides the professional conduct of accountants. A second and for us more important meaning of ethics according to the dictionary is this: ethics is the study of morality. Just as chemists use the term chemistry to refer to a study of the properties of chemical substances, ethicists use the term ethics to refer primarily to the study of morality. Although ethics deals with morality, it is not quite the same as morality. Ethics is a kind of investigation and includes both the activity of investigating as well as the results of that investigation, whereas morality is the subject matter that ethics investigates. A sense ethics, the discipline that examines one's moral standards or the moral standards of a society to evaluate their reasonableness and their implications for one's life. Ethics is not the only way to study morality. The social sciences such as anthropology, sociology, and psychology also study morality, but do so in a way that is different from the approach to morality that ethics takes. While ethics is a normative study of morality, the social sciences engage in a descriptive study of morality. A normative study is an investigation that tries to reach normative conclusions, that is, conclusions about what things are good or bad or about what actions are right or wrong. In short, a normative study aims to discover what ought to be. As we have seen, ethics is the study of moral standards whose explicit purpose is to determine as far as possible which standards are correct or supported by the best reasons. And so it tries to reach conclusions about moral right and wrong and moral good and evil. A descriptive study is one that does not try to reach any conclusions about what things are truly good or bad or right or wrong. Instead, a descriptive study tries to describe or explain the world without reaching any conclusions about whether the world is as it ought to be. Anthropologists and sociologists, for example, may study the moral standards that a particular village or culture holds. In doing so, they try to develop accurate descriptions of the moral standards of that culture and perhaps develop a theory that explains how they came to hold those standards. However, it is not the aim of anthropologists or sociologists to determine whether these moral standards are correct or incorrect. Ethics and morality. As morality equals the standards that an individual or a group has about what is right and wrong, or good and evil, a sense moral standards, the norms about the kinds of actions believed to be morally right and wrong, as well as the values placed on what we believe to be morally good and morally bad. Moral norms can usually be expressed as general rules about our actions, such as always tell the truth, it's wrong to kill innocent people, or actions are right to the extent that they produce happiness. Moral values can usually be expressed with statements about objects or features of objects that have worth, such as honesty is good, and injustice is bad. Where do moral standards come from? A sense typically, moral standards are first learned as a child from family, friends, and various societal influences such as church, school, television, magazines, music, and associations. Later, as we mature, our experience, learning, and intellectual development will lead us to think about, evaluate, and revise these standards according to whether we judge them to be reasonable or unreasonable. You may discard some standards that you decide are unreasonable and may adopt new standards because you come to believe they are more reasonable than the ones you previously accepted. Through this maturing process, you develop standards that are more rational and so more suited for dealing with the moral issues of adult life. Non-moral standards and norms. A sense the standards by which we judge what is good or bad and right or wrong in a non-moral way. A sense moral standards can be contrasted with norms or standards we hold about things that are non-moral. Examples of non-moral standards and norms, sometimes also called conventional standards and norms, include the standards of etiquette by which we judge people's manners as good or bad, the rules of behavior set by parents, teachers, or other authorities, the norms we call the law by which we determine what is legally right and wrong, the standards of language by which we judge what is grammatically right and wrong, the standards of art by which we judge whether a painting or a song is good or bad, and the sports standards by which we judge how well a game of football or basketball is being played. Since do not eat with your mouth open. Since do not chew gum in class. Since do not wear socks that do not match. 5 characteristics of moral standards involve significant injuries or benefits. Since not established by authority figures. Since should be preferred to other values including self-interest based on impartial considerations. Since associated with special emotions and vocabulary. Types of ethical issues. Since systemic ethical questions about the social, political, legal, or economic systems within which companies operate. Since corporate ethical questions about a particular corporation and its policies, culture, climate, impact, or actions. As individual ethical questions about a particular individual's decisions, behavior, or character. Can ethical qualities be attributed to corporations? View number 1, corporations, like people, act intentionally and have moral rights, and obligations, and are morally responsible. View number 2, it makes no sense to attribute ethical qualities to corporations since they are not like people but more like machines. Only humans can have ethical qualities. View number 3, humans carry out the corporation's actions so they are morally responsible for what they do and ethical qualities apply in a primary sense to them. Corporations have ethical qualities only in a derivative sense. Business ethics involves 5 activities. 1. The application of general ethics principles to particular cases or practices in business. 2. Metathics, whether moral terms generally used to describe individuals' actions can also be applied to organizations, businesses, collective entities. 3. Analysis of business presuppositions, both moral presuppositions those from a moral point of view. 4. Study of embedded problems that go beyond the field of ethics into other areas of philosophy and to other knowledge domains, like econ. Org. Theory. 5. Describing morally praiseworthy exemplary acts of either individuals in business or particular firms. Arguments supporting business ethics. Since ethics applies to all human activities. Since business cannot survive without ethics. Since ethics is consistent with profit-seeking. Customers, employees, and people in general care about ethics. Since studies suggest ethics does not detract from profits and seems to contribute to profits. Arguments against business ethics. Since in a free market economy, the pursuit of profit will ensure maximum social benefits, so business ethics is not needed. Since a manager's most important obligation is loyalty to the company regardless of ethics. Since so long as companies obey the law they will do all that ethics requires. Risi, S.A.